Okay, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Tail Racing Season 11 Ring Runners Round 3 from TCRs. And yes, we have rain. I'm James Parfitt, going to be joined in the booth by Alex Goldschmidt once again here for what plans to be a very interesting rain run race here again. But let's bring you up to date with the standings currently after the FF1600, after the ARXs as well. That these guys are continuing on in their journey of fighting. But let's see, it's Corey Stas out in front on 66 points. Krautfeld in second place, and Dean Diltz moved himself up into third after that great win last time out. Dan Kosick, Dave Mole, Pat Mish, Matt Green, David Anders, Logan McKinsey, and Matthew Mueller. Then Ian Bertolucci and Ray Teo in the AM standings. Scott Sadler still leading the way with Stephen Johnson in second, and Matty Van Horn, then Anthony Solomon, Chase Petterjohn, Guillermo Pare, Tim Watchout, John Amico, and Dylan Hesseling. The cars are just getting onto the grid, ready to go. This is the grid now. Evan Krautfeld is your pole man with David Anders second, Dan Kosick and Dave Mole. Scotty Sadler, Guillermo Pare, Corey Stas and Matt Van Horn, Dean Diltz, Pat Mish, Stephen Johnson, and Anthony Solomon. We've got 12 cars out for the TCRs this evening. Let's bring Alex once again into the booth. Alex, welcome in, bud. How are you?
All good, buddy. Looking forward to some TCR action finally, but the weather very different to what we've had over the past two rounds because we have rainfall in the Eifel region, and that's going to make it slipperier than wearing a pair of trainers on an ice rink.
Absolutely. They are going to have to be careful. We've got a mix of Hondas, Audis, Hyundais here as well. The only class in the last 2 years that hasn't been upgraded by iRacing. Hint, hint, as well. That would be nice, as Evan Krautfeld and David Anders is going to lead the field once again. I think they should go over to BTCC, Alex. I think they should do that.
Yeah, that'd be an interesting one. But TCR in its own right does have its own little character, but yeah, this rainfall is going to make it very, very different indeed for these drivers, but it's about how they handle the rain. Obviously, we have seen some dramas where drivers have ended up, let's just say, not exactly finishing the races, obviously, with the HPD IRX 01 that we had last time out for round 2. So, yeah, a good mix. I mean, yeah, the majority of the field, the Hyundai Elantra NTCR, one of the more favoured cars on the grid, but also good to see that oh yes, we do have some Velocitas as well, which is even nice to see so at least we've got some generational cars here, let's say.
Yeah, but I still think they need an upgrade. Just putting it out there. We can only hope. We can only hope, as Evan Krautfeld's going to lead the way here. He's going to have Hernandez alongside, Dan Kosick, Dave Mole, Scotty Sadler, Guillermo Pare in behind that. Then Corey Stas. Let's see what happens here with these 12 machines. Who's going to come out on top? Who isn't going to come out on top? Who's going to get to the end of the race? TCR's in the rain. It's going to be bonkers. So, here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, round 3 is going to be up and running very, very shortly. Waiting for the pace car just to decide that it wants to peel in here. And then we will be running. There it goes, waiting for Evan Krautfeld. Is he going to take the run? Is he going to run them early or is he going to run them late? Let's see what he does here. He's going to take him late. He's done it again, the same as what he did last time out. He's got the run. The difference is, Alex, let's hope he gets to the end of lap 1 this time. Unfortunately, like he did last time. But Evan Krautfeld, David Anders, Dave Mole, your 1, 2, 3. Scotty Sadler in there as well, looking at making moves if he can. But it is up front. Evan Krautfeld takes the whole shot, Alex, and job done for him.
Yeah, but look at right up his rear bumper. Dave Hernandez. There's been a change between Dan Kosick and Dave Mole. They swap positions like TCR musical chairs. But Hernandez tried to dive up the inside of Evan Krautfeld through the shortcut. That's a great little move in the wet. I mean, it's not easy in a car that, all these cars have inline 4-cylinder turbocharged front-mounted engines. They're also front-wheel drive, so there can be torque steer in addition to chronic understeer in these wet weather conditions that these drivers will have to contend with when it comes to the TCR cars.
Yeah, absolutely. They're going to have to allow these front-wheel drive beasts to try and pull them along as well. They're not horrendous in the wet. Don't get me wrong. You know, I've seen worse cars in the rain. That's a bit of an understatement. But I think for a minute, these guys are just going to have to really, really fight with these cars to get these hooked up. David Anders, TCR community manager for iRacing as well. So he knows all about these cars. And I suppose in hindsight, if he doesn't take the win, then well, it's a little bit counterproductive, isn't it, considering he's the TCR community manager?
Well, he'd have egg on his face rather quickly. As you say that, as I say that, he's just gone and slid off and tagged the barrier with the left rear of his Elantra NTCR, but still kept it planted in the wet. Head of Evan Krautwald, who is holding on in the wonderfully Duff liveried Hyundai just behind him. Kosick and Mull battling over P3, and they've got Corey Stas right with them in the first of the other cars that is not a Hyundai, the leading Audi. Pat Messich, I think, has ended up off track and might be in the barriers, so his race might have come to a premature end, but hopefully the Audi number 664, last season's AM champion. But this is where with minimal amounts of visibility, especially if you're the car behind the one in front, your peripheral vision, you're running on radar sense, a bit like Daredevil in Daredevil, so to speak. All your other senses are heightened. There is Corey Stas just trying to do the same, but it's going to be nip and tuck here. Stas gets through on Dave Mull for P4. So again, Corey Stas doing a really good job in the number 20 Audi RS3 LMS TCR car. And there is Dave Mull in the first of the Hyundai Velosters as we ride aboard with the number 20 of Corey Stas chasing down Dan Kosick for P3.
Yeah. On that run down the hill up to Adenau Forest, you can see the puddle on the left there. Oh, steady. Oh, is it? Nope, he is going to get it stopped. Well done, Corey, on that one. That's one of the problems. You're going to have mass aquaplaning on some of these hills. As, water does, it runs downhill and it sits down at the base of the hill. So they're going to have a lot to try and contend with here. And that's going to be the interesting thing as well, I think, for these cars. Who's going to cope with the aquaplaning effect the best? Hernandez has lost that place to Krautfeld. Krautfeld's just gone through. And now it's all about what Hernandez is going to be able to do. But Corey Stas chasing onto the back of Dan Kosick very quickly.
Yeah, and he's looking rather racy in the Audi, so loses about a car length and a half just then. But again, as I said, torque steer is going to be a big key factor that the drivers are going to have to deal with, because once you've got the power going through the gearbox into the drive shafts, you've got a very nose-heavy car. That was Dave Mull in the Veloster getting a little bit sideways, and that is something you can see in a front-wheel drive car when it's in the wet. But yeah, it's just that case of looking to be a bit creative on your racing lines, as we see there from Corey Stas. But Evan Krautwald now has nearly a 7/10 of a second advantage over Dave Hernandez. Guillermo Perret leading the way in the AM class in the number 52 Hyundai. Scott Sadler and Stephen Johnson in the Hyundai and the Honda ran at the top 9, but also ran at the top 3, more importantly, in the AM classification. But Kosick has got Stas right over his rear like a rash.
Absolutely. Is Kosick going to be able to hold on from Stas on that run into Bergwerk now? Corey Stas sitting right in there at the moment. Looking back from Stas's car, that's Dave Mull in behind us. He's not really making big inroads, but Corey Stas has got Dan Kosick in his sights now. What sort of speeds? We saw 180 plus mile an hour out of the HPDs. What are we going to see out of these? Well, at the moment, we're slower than the FF1600s. They can't quite get the momentum going. 120. That's a surprise, actually, that the FF1600s are nearly as fast as the TCRs.
considering the fact that you've also got the wet weather, so the drivers have got to be very, very careful. Of course, the open setup until Duck Week. As oh my goodness me, Corey Stas, he got a little bit of a moment there, nearly ending up in the rear bumper of Kosick in that battle for P3. But he's look, it's through the play. Oh, Corey Stas with a big run through there. He's going to put it to the outside here into the right-hander. Can he get the switchback on the number 13 Hyundai? No, he's going to keep it pinned to the outside because he saw the standing water puddle. And again, just swarming all over the back bumper of him at the moment. But I think it's probably when they go through Kleins, as they go through the carousel now. And it's just about biding his time and waiting. But Dan, at the moment, Dan Kosick is 1.8 seconds behind Dave Hernandez, who in turn is now nearly 3/4 of a second behind Krautwald at the moment. But you can just see, you know, you've got to get creative with the racing lines and the wet. You've also got to get creative with how you get your opportunities for overtaking as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing. You want to try and avoid the puddles. The problem with Nords is the puddles change every single blinking time they go around the race circuit. So they're going to have to be even more careful where they're going to sit. You see one strolling across the racetrack there. And that normally results in sort of almost a river effect. But Corey Stas at the moment, oh, Kosick got a slide. Is he going to be able to get this done, Corey Stas? I don't know if he's going to be able to do this here. In through Brunchen. He's got to try. He is trying every single part of this racetrack to see where he can go through. Kosick makes a mistake. Corey Stas through. Job done for him. He's going to motor forward in that Audi.
Yeah, now definitely as he's been released, of course, the curbing, it's going to be a little bit more compliant towards the suspension of these cars based on actual real-life production vehicles and have to run to a homologated specification, producing around about 300 brake horsepower. I mean, the RS3 would normally, in its road-going equivalent, would be a four-wheel drive car, but those kind of systems, four-wheel drive, were outlawed when TCR first made its debut back in the mid-2010s, and so there's a good formula that keeps running to this day, especially with the TCR World Tour. But yeah, it's now Corey Stas. Yeah, look, he's dropped Kosick like a bad habit. He's 2.7 seconds up the road in the wet, and he is starting to close that gap to Dave Hernandez. As it closes to Hernandez, it expands between Stas and Kosick. So we've also had Matt Van Horn in the pits when he's been in there. Oh, it's Krautwald! Second race in a row, he's dropped it!
From the lead of the race. Oh, dude. He's got 14, he's got about 11 seconds. Oh, mate, look at that. Bounces it off the barrier and he loses it again. Scott Sadler tucked up behind Stephen Johnson at the moment. He's got Pat Misch tucked in behind him. That Dunkin' Donuts liveried machine. Misch gets that car all sideways at the moment. Down the Dongaho we go. Let's sort of see what sort of speeds we're topping out at. 112, 14, 19, 20. They're alongside each other already. Don't forget it is open setups. You can see Dean Diltz further up. He's having a go side by side with Dave Mole. Diltz goes through, last week's winner, sitting down in 4th place at the moment. You can see Mole just running through the puddles down the Dongaho there.
Yeah, definitely. And I think it's also Pat Messich that I just noticed. He's actually got some damage to the front bumper, the bonnet on the right-hand side of the car. So that might slightly compromise the car in terms of aero efficiency. But there's minimal aerodynamics that are allowed, such as the hoofing rate, big wing on the back of Dave Mull's car. So we go on to lap 2, and I don't think Matt Van Horn is going to be coming out anytime soon at this minute.
No, he's had some dramas. He's gone round, unfortunately. Look at the water, standing water going down into turn 1. Oh, Dave, get it stopped just about. Managed that one. Gets it round the corner in turn 1 and 2. And then he's going to be off again here for Dave Mole, but this is going to be very, very tough. And as per normal, Corey Stas now on to the leader of Dave Hernandez. Hernandez leading the way on lap 2 here, but for how much longer? Because Stas has looked absolutely mighty on this one, Alex.
Yeah, I kind of agree there. I mean, the Audi's been a bit more, has always been a bit more stable in the wet, and Corey Stas just using the advantages of that car. I mean, the Hyundai is still a pretty good vehicle in many respects, but there's a lot of. I think the Audi in general. I mean, whenever I've driven a TCR car on iRacing, I've always gone for the Audi. I tried the Veloster, I tried the Elantra, but I found that the Audi had the better all-round package, a good combination of top speed, but also good handling. And when you think that a car that was as a road vehicle, that still as a road vehicle in this modern day and age is four-wheel drive, but the way that it was converted to a front-wheel drive car, it sort of opened up a different lease of life for this vehicle, and it's really done its business, and now is in its second generation in TCR. So I'm not at all surprised that Stas is catching Hernandez. Hernandez is the guinea pig out there, so as the weather evolves, he's the one that's finding out about the conditions first, whereas Stas can be a little bit more creative on his racing lines and try and maybe put the frighteners onto Dave Hernandez, who we now ride on board with.
Yeah, look at the puddles. Where do you place the car? You avoid puddles as often as you can. He can't avoid that one. That is in the middle of the circuit. He's clear up here at the moment. There's another one. There's another one. Oh, Dave, hold on. Hold on. Fighting with that car. Puddle, 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 puddle. More puddles coming all the way down the straight here. He's got to keep it to the right-hand side. Now go through the middle. Go through the middle. Oh, okay, take the puddles. I probably would have gone through the middle. Oh, he's not really got a lot of option there either. I'm surprised we haven't seen more people off here down into Arenberg with the way that they set up. Look at the track, Alex. It is absolutely soaked.
Oh, look at this! Hernandez having to hold on. Oh, the front end was all over the shop. I think the back end also stepped out a couple of times as well. He's going to have to check his undercrackers after that one, because that was a bit of a big scare. That car could have gone straight on off, but well held by Dave Hernandez. Meantime, look at this battle here. Kosic versus Dilts and Mull for P3. So it's Hyundai versus Honda versus Hyundai. And it's actually the battle of the hatchbacks, because the two Hyundais are the one at the back is the Veloster, the one up front is the Elantra. So yeah, it's like you've mixed white and sourdough bread and put a little bit of a Japanese filling in the middle.
Absolutely. But I will say Corey Stas had some drama at that corner as well down into Arenberg, because he's dropped back 1.4 seconds. Dilts has got Mole tucked in behind him. Dilts trying to chase Kosic down. It's going to be a way of who's going to come out on top here. Which car is going to survive? Is it going to be the Elantra? Is it going to be the Civic? Is it going to be the Veloster? As these guys continue to run round for lap 2, not very far apart. Dean Dilts there doing a great job managing to get this Civic round the corner. We go now out of Burberg on a run up the hill. It's going to be very, very tough here. Oh, Dan! Oh, Kosik's in the wall! Kosik's in the wall! Oh, he's broke. He is broke, broke.
Three wheels on that wagon as well. The left front has exited after hitting the barriers hard, and he's going to take that to the pits, I'm afraid. That's a real shame for Dan Kosic.
Yeah.
Kosic, he did a really good job up to that point, but it was standing water, puddle caught the car, understeer, and then bang into the left-hand side barriers.
Yeah, all done there for Dan Kosic, unfortunately for him. He has lost that car now. Dave Hernandez again, still out in front. Lap 2 of 4, of course. They're all 4 laps. We don't do any more. We don't do any less. Nothing changes. Into Bergwerk we go. Corey Stas now for the run from Bergwerk up through Kasselchen, coming into the carousel. Stas in that Audi. He looks like he's got the pace on Hernandez here. I've got to be honest. I think he's just got to make it a clean overtake, and I think Corey Stas will be on his way, Alex.
Yeah, also interestingly enough, Guillermo Perret now leading the AM-class battle ahead of Stephen Johnson. They're running P5 and P6, so they're negotiating these really heavy rain it's pretty much borderlining on torrential conditions for these cars. But you know, as you said, Corey Starks is making the best of it, and he's 0.6 of a second behind. So this will give Corey the opportunity. But like I said earlier, you know, the peripheral vision, when you're behind another car, you are nearly running blind. So he's got to be very measured on his approach. And in the wet weather conditions, you don't really want to be right up the chuff of the person in front of you. You want to be a little bit further behind so you can react accordingly in case there is a mistake from the person in front or the people in front thereof as they go through the carousel. You can just see not as high revving as the Hondas. I mean, the Audi's going to rev to 6,800 RPM before you have to shift up here on the circuit. But Hernandez, again, starting to build that gap. It's back up to 1.1 seconds now, JP. So the pendulum swings in the wets here at the Nordschleife are pretty mighty.
Yeah, absolutely. That was because Stas made a mistake around the carousel. He was trying to hold the car in, just about managing to hold it in there at the same time. But the gap's come down again now. You can see Hernandez and Stas over the curb they go. It's going to be interesting to see where... Oh, he's giving you an in. He's giving you an in. He's just ran wide, Dave Hernandez. That's brought Stas right into the back end now. Now where's he going to go? He's looking. He doesn't know where to take this one at the moment in through Brunchen. Corey Stas, Dave Hernandez. Stas has just got nowhere to go. He doesn't know where to go. And that's the problem here at this moment in time for Corey Stas, as the timing tower has a bit of a mare going on there. I'm not quite sure what's happening with that. Now through the left-hander. He's going to take the curb on the right, through the puddles again. Stas is looking mighty. I do fear for Dave Hernandez here. I have to be honest. Is there going to be air over the jump? Nope, not really. Big splash of puddles coming up from Hernandez's car. You can see just how close Stas is at the moment. He is literally driving on instincts because he can't really see a lot. The puddles, the spray coming up through the right-hander we go, through into Flansgarden, coming into Klein. This far section, left, right. Slight little kink to the left. Now it's going to be hard on the brakes through the right-hander. Up into Klein, we're going to go shortly. And again, Stas is close enough here, but he's just got to make it past Hernandez, and I do believe that Stas would be quicker and on his way. Does look like Stephen Johnson's put himself back into pit lane as well, unfortunately for him, but we'll have a look back at these, obviously at the replay run through at the end. Matt Van Horn also put himself straight back into pit lane as well.
Yeah, so he was in there for 7 minutes 50 seconds, so that's pretty much nearly a lap if we were in the dry. Well, that would be just over a lap in the HPD ARX, because we were running pretty quickly in those cars. But of course, in these wet weather conditions, you can see the amount of spray that's being shot up into the air from the rears of both cars. It just showcases how difficult this is for these drivers. 141, 142 miles an hour in this battle for what is effectively the race lead. Oh,
caught him at the right time, caught him down down under the bill, down the hill.
Hernandez 2 wheels on the grass there.
And Stas has gone through. I think this could be the end of the race here. I got a funny feeling Stas is just going to go and motor on. Paré running alongside Dave Mole. Paré's gone up the inside as well. He's got that job done over Mole. Mole fighting in that Veloster behind Paré in the Elantra. Job done for him. But Hernandez is not letting Stas get away going down into turn one. However, for Dave, he kind of needs to be out on that puddle, because he's just driven that puddle all the way down into turn one. And I got a funny feeling this is where Stas is going to say, see you later, adios.
Yeah, hasta luego, hasta la mañana, however you want to put it. But if Hernandez can keep Stas honest over the next 2 laps, which now on to lap 3, we're not even 5% in as they go through into the shortcut. Yeah, I think Hernandez could have a possibility as long as he stays with the Audi in front, as long as he stays with with Stas. He's got a chance of winning this race.
Agreed. I do agree, because anything can happen here. That's the worst thing about Nords. Well, it's not the worst thing for us, it's the best thing about Nords. Anything can happen, and generally does, and there's always curbs, there's always a corner, there's always something, there's puddles as well, there's rain involved. There's a lot that these guys have got to consider, but Hernandez has got to try and stay with Stas. Quicker through that little part there for Hernandez. If Stas does get the carousel wrong, Hernandez is in with a sniff here, but he's got to make sure he's close enough. That's the problem. And Stas is looking mighty going into Nords as well, and then running down the Hasselback at the same time. And it looks like that Audi he's got underneath him, Alex, is really quite hooked up here. And I think it could be about 8-9 tenths on the run down into Arenberg if David Hernandez isn't careful.
Yeah, very much agree there, JP. I think it's just about having that confidence in the car. As we alluded to in the last two previous broadcasts, it's open setup for everybody, so everyone has an equal chance of going for the victory. But I think for Stas, if he's done the ultimate compromise in terms of between dry and wet weather racing here on the iRacing service, it's more a case of how can you translate that into being a fast driver on track. And it's not easy to explain, but those who really know how to do this kind of work, they're the real unsung heroes. But it's more the case of now that gap's coming back down again. So yeah, we could have probably, for what we've had in the previous two rounds for the Formula Ford 1600 and then the HPD car from the ALMS, and it's not Asian Le Mans Series, that's American Le Mans Series. It's now about how Corey Stas just keeps putting in the sector times here at the Nordschleife and drive the car like he's having fun. Yeah, they get sweaty, they get tired after every competition, whether it be in real life or whether it be online. Yeah, it's just they're just trying to make it, they're just trying to do what they can.
Yeah, absolutely, and they've got to make sure that these cars stay on track here. Halfway round lap 3, and Anders is still in with a shout. Still 8 tenths back at the moment. Is he going to be able to close this gap in, or is this going to be one of them that's going to spread out? I think the rain's cost a lot of people. It's cost Matt Van Horn, it's cost Evan Krautfield, Dan Cosick, Stephen Johnson. Pat Meish has had another drama. It's cost him as well. And it looks like it's going to cost David Hernandez. He's 1 second back now, Alex. I'm fearing that this could be it. If he can't keep within that second range, I've got a funny feeling Stas is going to be on his bike down the road, adios, and he's going to make this out to about a 3-second gap by the end of this race.
Yeah, it's now about in the second half of the race itself. That's where the real sort of way in which the drivers develop on how to manage their gaps, especially whether it's battling for the race lead, whether it's battling for fourth. There's so much that you've got to take into account on that sense. But yeah, Hernandez might be thinking, well, maybe if my tyres have not fallen off of a cliff yet, then I feel I'm still winning with a chance.
Keeping with him, that's the main important thing for David Hernandez. I think he's got to stay with him. He's got to keep it in that 7 tenths, 8 tenths range. He's got to stay with him here, because that's where the difference lies for David Hernandez. If he can stay with him, then I think he's in with a great shout of making this a very entertaining 2-horse race. But as they're coming out of Bürwerk on the run up now through Kesselchen, up into Carousel, Hernandez is 8 tenths back at the moment. He's got to get it closer. It's going to be about what he's going to be able to do here. It's all about what that battle is going to take shape of, because I can tell you one thing, it's going to be very, very difficult because Stas has looked mighty. Now Hernandez gets the draft, picks it up, 6.5 tenths, 6 tenths here. Is he going to be able to close this gap into Stas? He gets it down to 5, 5.5. Now through the left-hander, is it going to come down to 4? It is for Dave Hernandez. Back out. Oh, Dave! Ah. Then he goes and bumps the barrier.
Well, at least it was only a glancing blow in comparison to what we've seen already this season here for rounds 1 and 2. I think this is one of the, where you've got these respective cars of respective eras, and they're on iRacing, and you can have a really, really good experience with all the latest equipment and it's just about fulfilling that inner need, that inner want, that inner desire, saying, well, maybe if I hadn't done this or I hadn't done that, it could have been a very, very different story indeed for the pair of us.
Absolutely. I can tell you now, Stephen Johnson is not having a good time. He has been on and off the circuit a couple of times here for him. And unfortunately for Stephen, he's going to have to try and look at this one and go back. Anthony Solomon has just had some drama. He's gone and thumped the wall in that Civic, unfortunately for him. So he's dropped back down the order again to second to last behind Matt Horn, who is still running. Fair play to him. But he is a long way away here from anybody is Matt Horn. It's like almost 58 seconds to the guys in front currently. But yeah, tough. TCRs and rain is always going to make it a tough one.
Yeah, I completely agree. It's without that, you never know what might happen. But there's still plenty of this race to go. I mean, even though Corey Stas is 1.4 seconds up the road from Dave Hernandez, I wouldn't count out Hernandez. I wouldn't carry out. Well, I mean, in terms of the battle for the race lead. So when you think about it, Corey Stas has been in the fight for the race win. And you then go, okay, well, what can we do next?
Yep. Whatever he's done, he's kind of made a mistake. He's made a mistake because Hernandez is back behind him again.
Oh.
The Stas has done some dramas. 8 attempts now coming onto the dotting hole for the third time. We've got one more lap to go with these guys. Down to 5 attempts. Could Dave Hernandez just have been handed a lifetime?
He might have been given that Uno reverse get out of jail free card, but can he use that to his maximum?
That's the question. Here. That is the question. Can Hernandez make this gap close? 3 attempts it is now. Closing in.
That's where this is going to be very, very close.
Yeah. Got to get him on the drop. And I don't mean the drop as in a bass drop or a beat drop. He's got to get him over the hill. Pulls alongside for Hernandez. Is he going to be able to get the run? No, that Audi's just looking far too strong for Hernandez. He can't afford any more mistakes. This has got to be the lap of Dave's life, and he's got to keep it as clean, and he's ever going to keep this now, Alex. This is the question for Hernandez. He needs to keep this as clean as possible to try and make it this closing. Krautfeld's closing in on Scotty Sadler. That's happening as well on the final lap. Evan Krautfeld thrown away another lead on another lap. He just can't catch a break from the front, can he?
Unfortunately not. And when you catch a break like that around here at the North Line, what do you think?
These guys continue fighting. So let's see how they get on here as well for the final lap of the race. Corey Stas, Dave Hernandez. Through the right hand, through the left hander they go. Once more here, final lap now, Alex. These guys battling it out.
Yeah, once again, for the third race in a row, we've got the top two battling it out tooth and nail, and that weather isn't getting any better. There is some track evolution, but sometimes you've got to go unconventional to be conventional, and sometimes one went very, very much. Oh, is that John East, possibly? I think it is. That's on the floor. Yep, and he's going to give us a cheeky little wave to the camera. Morning, Dave.
Yeah, final lap of the race here. Right into the Nords for the final time. And again, these guys are going to be the battle that we're going to be focusing on. Once more, lap 4, Dave. Oh, he's going to loosen it up. He's hit the barrier. Oh, Dave Hernandez has thumped the barrier. He's managed to keep the car going, which is a good job from him, but he has thumped the barrier here for Dave Hernandez.
It's a real shame, but sometimes it can't be helped. And that was the proof in the pudding there, JP.
Yeah, absolutely. These guys battling it out now for the final lap. Through the left-hander. Over the hill they go, down into Arenberg. Through the left-hander they go. Hernandez in behind Corey Stas for the final time. As these guys continue to fight on this final lap here once more. Who's going to come out on top? That's going to be the question here. Who's going to have it? Corey Stas has looked quick all race, Alex. And is he going to come out on top for the final lap?
It's going to be a tough one to call, really, JP. And the main reason being is that I think Corey Stas, he needs to be within that magical 3 to 4 or 10th of a second window. But Hernandez is getting a little bit braver on the approach with regards to certain parts of the circuit. You know, taking the traditional racing line rather than going, well, I've got to avoid that puddle. I've got to avoid that puddle. It's now the case that he needs to put his best foot forward, pick up a win. And once again, for the second race in a row, we are looking on course to having our AM class winner finishing in the overall top 3. But Dave Hernandez, 2 wheels on the grass. Look, Corey Stas is just waiting. He's biding his time. I think he might have a little bit in reserve here, to be honest with you. And Dave Hernandez knows it.
Yeah, it's Hernandez that's got to make it clean. He's got to get this final lap absolutely nailed now through the top part of the circuit. Cullenard and X-Muller coming up, but then it's the run out of Bergwerk again, who's got to get it stuck there up through Kesselchen. David Hernandez, you got to be careful because Corey Stas is tucked in behind you. Are you going to be able to make this job done here? He's getting that car sideways and more sideways. I've got a funny feeling Hernandez is going to make a mistake here and Stas might take this victory.
Yeah, we've already gone through into the Adenauer Forest, and it's just a case of that Audi has not looked unsettled that often. And look, oh, Hernandez with a slide. Now Corey Stas will be waiting with anticipation here, because we've got a lot of technicality coming up, a lot of braking zones, and if you go a bit too hard on the brakes, and if you're going through a standing water puddle, you're going to have a bit of aquaplaning to deal with as well, which is going to make the front end feel very, very light, and also the steering thereby does not want to be let's just use the word compliance with your inputs. It's going to be all over the shop. And we saw earlier on as well, JP, that on the onboard where Hernandez had to steer the car left, right, left, right, left, right within a matter of seconds to stop it from going off the circuit. But now, with the gap that is rapidly closing, I think Corey Stas, if he gets a good run out of both carousels, it could be game over for Hernandez for the race victory. Let's not forget that he will want to, Corey Stas will want to leave this round with a little bit of an advantage. And the way things are going, I think it's Hernandez's race to lose. Corey Stas is the stronger driver with the stronger package.
Yeah, I agree as well. Coming up to the carousel now. Dave Hernandez still out in front. Corey Stas still tucked in behind. Dave Mole's getting a little bit closer to Guillermo behind. Guillermo's got the cars closing in on him at the same time. It looks like Stephen Johnson and Matt Van Horn again have had some more dramas a little bit further back, but it is all about this lead battle coming up now from these guys. It's going to be interesting up through the Huhag there. And now David Anders gets it a little bit slidey again. Through the right-hander we go. Now coming down, it's going to be the run down through to Whipperman and into Brunchen. He's only got half a lap left, Alex, to hold on to this one. Can he do it? That's going to be the question.
Front end on that Elantra in the hands of Hernandez is looking rather sketchy, in my honest opinion here. And look, you could see from the difference of the driving style. Look how calm Corey Stas is at the moment. And Hernandez with another slide! Again, I think Hernandez, I don't think he's panicky. I think he's just a little bit worried because you can just see that the minute that he throws a car into the corner, you've got to be very mindful in the wet weather conditions. Look at that. Smooth is fast, as they say, but it's also, you can see that Corey Stas having to hold on to the brakes there because he could feel that the car was sliding out to the rear on the left hand side, but he gathers it up rather nicely. So you can see that Corey Stas is using a little bit more of the not of the rudimentary track, but using a little bit of the and another big puddle there that Hernandez goes through. Another puddle, you can see the splashes rooster tailing from underneath the rear diffuser on that Elantra NTCR. I think Corey Stas, once we get into the Duttinger Hoa, is going to be passed and through, but he's not going to rush the manoeuvre. He's going to take it nice and calmly, because in these wet weather conditions, he will want to be comfortably ahead going into Tiergarten. He will not want Dave Hernandez side by side, wheel to wheel with him.
Yeah, well, in we go through the left-hander now. It's going to be up through the Kleins for the final time here as well. Through the left-hander, Hernandez still out in front. Stas tighten the line up on the run through Galgenkopf. How close can Stas get? We can see Dave Mole is ahead of Guillaume Perret now as well, but that's partly due to the fact that Guillermo's been off the side of the circuit, but Dave Mole's having his own little battle with Dean Diltz. But it is now for Dave Hernandez. It's Corey Stas. It's for the final time down the Duttinger Hoa. Can Dave hold on for this one? If I'm not mistaken, it might be one of his first wins here. Stas tucks in behind him. Dave's, well, not quite sure what Dave's doing at this moment in time, Alex. That's a little bit...
He's aquaplaning. That's the big problem, because he's hit all those puddles. It put him two wheels on the grass. The right side tyres will be dirty. And here comes Corey Stas to the outside, heading into Tiergarten, underneath the Bilstein Bridge. And Stas has made the move. Can he get the run up the hill? Yes. That is exactly what he needed. Going down into the dip, the gap now 0.3 of a second through the standing water puddles. The Audi is less unsettled than the Hyundai. It's Stas that's... Oh, Hernandez with another slide. But is it going to be enough? We're about to come through. It's the run to the line.
Yeah, Corey Stas is going to take the win in the TCRs. Over he goes. Hernandez isn't going to quite get there. It is going to be Stas. Stas takes the victory. Dave Hernandez there as well. Then Dean Diltz is going to come over the line about 30 seconds back at the moment with Dave Mole. There them two guys are as well. So a great job from both of them as they get to finish this evening's race. But it is going to be Dean Diltz with another podium here. So a great job from him as he comes over the line as well. Wraps up another podium after his win last time out. Great job from him. this season as well. Strong start from Dean Dills. Dave Mole tucked in right behind him, and then everybody else is going to finish off behind that one. Let's have a look at the results this time around of the TCRs. And okay, let's do that overall, shall we, rather than by class? And it is Corey Stas is your winner, with David Anders in second, and then Dean Dilts third, and Dave Mole. Guillermo Pare still wraps up the AM win, with Patrick Mishek in behind it, Evan Crautfield, Scotty Sadler, Stephen Johnson, who had horrible races, mind you, Stephen Johnson did, Dan Kosick, Anthony Solomon, and Matt Van Horn. We're going to run through the ones that sent the guys back to pit lane, and it started here with Matt Van Horn. It's the first one with the problem. Can we get rid of that? Thank you. And that goes and sends him back into pit lane.
Oh.
Bang. Wheels are gone. Oh, no, back on, but it definitely went there for Matt Van Horn as well. We saw Evan Crautfield spin live. Going to go down to Dan Kosick as well. I think we just caught this live at the same time, to be honest, from Dan. And he just ends up in the barrier, didn't we, on that one? Stephen Johnson.
It was the left front. Yeah.
Stephen Johnson sent himself back to pit lane with this in that Honda Civic. Oh, big crash. Big crash for Stephen Johnson there. Sends himself back to pit lane. And on from that one, Pat Mishek had another as well, another issue when it wants to behave itself. Come on, there we go. And Pat
you can already see the damage on the right front. Oh. The Dunkin' Donuts car is going for a spin and into the kitty litter, but he manages to get it out of there. Cool, that was a code brown.
Yeah, Stephen Johnson also the same corner going down into turn one. That's going to just kick up, I think. Yeah, it goes in deep, can't get it rotated. It didn't have a great race. Guillermo, last lap for him. This is where he lost a lot of his time. Goes off the circuit, up over the puddles. And then off he goes.
Oh, he was a lucky boy.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, guys, that's going to wrap it up here as well for round number 3. Join us next time out for round number 4, as we're going to head now into the mini stocks at just the Nords. That's going to be an interesting one in his own right here at the same time. But I've been James Parfitt. I've been alongside Alex Goldschmidt. And as always, take care. Have a great week. And you never know, we might see you on a track sometime. Good night.